Okay, I am back at doing videos again. Somebody requested how to do glass. So this is a piece that I did with someone a long time ago. Now this is on a board and it is with paints. But what we're going to be looking at is glass and how to get it to look like glass. Notice all the white, all these white marks that are added in, and how the glass is clear in that center area, even if it's got color around the outside. Okay, so let me put that to the side. I grabbed this book off the shelf. It's an old one, was at Michael's long time ago. Now I've already done the candy on this, and I think if I stay right there, pushed as far as it'll go, I should be able to keep you on camera. I am using the Prismacolors because that's what Gladys told me she had, and this video is for her and all y'all. So anyway, I started with the little candies, and they are done in 905 aquamarine and 992 light aqua. Okay, and just do those like you normally would. The only thing that's darker is what's in the back, and you know how I generally blend with my lightest color. I didn't. I went to the colorless blender. It's number 1077, and just blended everything real quick. Now when you're doing books and things from other people, you're going to notice there are lines missing. I added these lines, this line, there was another, this line's missing. So just make sure whatever you're doing your lines with is going to give you the same width line as what you're coloring. All right, now what is this? This is a deluxe fine Uniball pen. It's by Sanford. It's a fine. That's just what it says right there, is Uniball fine. This is what I found in my supplies. Sorry, got no idea other than that. But what I want to show you, back to the painting. Do you see how down here you can see the back of the bottom of this because it is so clear? On this one you can't see lines specific, but it alludes to it. On this one you can see it's humped bigger because it's raised inside, up inside, like a wine bottle or something would be. Okay, so that brings me again back to this. Not all of your coloring book artists are realistic artists, meaning that when I look at this, there are no back lines. Okay, somehow I've already lost part of that bottom. There we go. None of those bottom lines are in here, but yet the artist has shown what might be showing through. Okay, so stop wobbling. If I'm going to go back to making videos, I've got to solve that problem. So what I'm going to do is take this pen and I'm going to look here and I'm going to say, okay, there's going to be a line right there. So I'm going to draw a line. You can tell it's a broken line. I don't care. It doesn't matter. There's going to be another one, like maybe through here. This one, maybe it's just part of it showing. All right, here we'll do this one through the whole thing. This one, we'll just take it up and back down. Now notice I went around that candied. Okay, so now we actually have those bottom pieces that were like in the painting I showed you. Now, up to you. If your vase or container has that, do it. If it doesn't have it and you don't want to mess with it, then don't mess with it. Now, when you're doing glass, the first thing you need to do is color what's inside that glass. So I'm only tackling this piece right here today. I've grabbed purple. Purple is an awesome shadow color. In this one, notice how all the shadows are done in brown, and that's just a little bit harsh. But if you'll look over here, there's purple in this. That's not black. That is some purple that's in there. There's also a little bit of purple smeared through here. Okay. It was done, gosh, I don't even know who I did that with. It was done back in 2009. I did date it. Okay. So I'm going to sharpen these pencils real quick. Again, I'm using Prismacolor. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, for anybody that wonders where I was doing a Patreon page or account for a while, and it was $5 a month. That account is still up, so if you ever get the urge that, oh, you want to thank me for doing videos, you're welcome to just go sign up for 1 month. It'll deposit $5 into that account for me and then quit it. I don't care. It's just a way to show thanks. Anyway, or just leave comments below and say, hey, thanks, and give me a thumbs up, because those thumbs up are always appreciated. I am using 1008. That's Parma Violet. Then my medium shade is Violet 932. And my dark is Black Grape 996. So from here on, if you didn't write those down, pause, go back and write them down. I'm going to refer to them as light, medium, and dark. Okay? Now, I am going to start with my light, and I'm going to hold this pencil way back, because as you remember from videos past, I am very heavy-handed and I want this to barely show up. I'm going right over the top of those candies or whatever they are. Okay, I'm going to come all the way around this. And again, a very light touch. I'm coming in probably 1/2 inch maybe. Just getting some color on there. And there are so many ways to do glass. And to me, it's easier to paint glass than to do the colored pencil glass. But that's because I can use water and float color and all that. So I went right around. Then I'm going to come to my medium, and I'm going to do it again. But this time, I am only going to do about half that space. So whatever space you did the first time, this time, do less. Do about half of it. What I'm trying to establish right now is the shape. Okay? So just go around, get that shape in. Then I'm going to come back with my dark, and I'm going to do some right up here. See where the lid overhangs? So it's going to be a little darker there. Both sides, because it is hanging over on both sides. All right. And then right down here, because this is down at the bottom where it's coming in at a V. So right down in there is not getting nearly as much light as everything else. And at this point, it's half of what I did last time. So it's 1/4 of what I started with. Now I'm going to stand up and see how much of that you can see. Not a lot, because that's how light it is. Do you see that shape though? So now that container has shape. Now I could come back in if I wanted to, blend all that with my blender. I have blue on this from doing those little balls there. So I'm going to resharpen it, and it just takes that color off. Now I would come in, if you're using colorless blender, okay, and just blend that together. I know, wobbling, sorry. I'm standing up to do this. There's really got to be a better way for both of us. If I were doing purple candies, would I still use purple? Yes, I would. In fact, I will write down what purples I'm using for this, and if I ever come back and finish this page, I will use those same purples on the whole thing, on all the glass. I'll just keep it uniform. Unless, now I say that, and now I'm going to change it on you. Unless you're going for different colors of glass. You know, there's a pink glass, there's blue glass, there's all different colors of glass. So I could come in and do all these different. In fact, that might look kind of cool. But you can see how that's already getting shape. Now, this is overhanging. So again, I'm going to come in and I want some overhang. So I'm going to come across. And see, I had to go back on that pencil because I could tell I was having too much control and already doing too heavy-handed. But now this is not as wide as that first one was. Mainly just because it's where the overhang shadow is, and that shadow's not going to be something that has to be that predominant. And in fact, this darker shade, that was the light and the medium, now I've got the dark. I'm going to bring this just a little. I'm not even going to come out very far on this. Just a bit. Coming back in with that colorless blender. I know, I'm surprising myself by using it too. But I want to be sure and use things that I know Gladys has to try to make this easier for her. And don't be in a rush like I am. Take your time on this. Okay, so there's that. Now, I would continue on doing this whole thing. See where it comes in? That's going to be darker shadows, just like this part here was. Okay, not only that, but at the very end, I can use this darkest shade. Now I'm going to draw right across this. Does that suddenly also help to make it look like glass? Okay, and you just decide. And the first time you ever do that, it's like, but it's okay. You can do it. So, and because they already have the shine mark here and here, I'm just going to go around it. But again, it's glass, so I'm just putting the outer edge on there. Go to your kitchen, set a glass out on the counter, and look at it and see where the light hits it, if there's not just a little bit of reflected light. And now what I'm doing here is just a shadow under that ribbon. Okay, just putting a shadow in. And I'll go back and color that ribbon later. Okay, and then because this bubbles out, it would have a little bit of shadow down here on the bottom of the bubbled area. Does that make sense? It's rounded like this pencil. So even though you see light right here, there's still just a bit of dark right on that edge. That's what that bit of dark is. Okay, so I did the lightest, and then I'll come along with the medium, but I won't do the dark at all. If I did the dark, I would lose the dark from down here. Does that make sense? Okay, so now I'm on my medium again. So I'm going to get this done. And I'm just barely coming at it all. Just turn that book however you need to, or your page, so that you can get to what you're coloring. All right, now right here, I'm going to do, again, the lightest right here, just to put some separation between this bubbled out part and the top. I'm not going to add darker on that one. I'm just not going to. Then the blender again. Let's see if I can rattle the table apart. And you can just do straight like this. You can do little circles like this. It just depends on what you want to do. Just remember, the more you go over that white area, it's going to start coloring in because you're dragging that color with it. And if I get it too dark, that's why there are erasers. Okay? So I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. And I'm going to show you another little trick in a minute with the eraser. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that. And we'll do that. I know, bounce, bounce. Alright, and then we did this. Now see, I didn't even color on that side up there, but there was enough on the pencil that it went ahead and drug through and made it colored. I want to keep this down here. And Gladys, I hope this is explaining it enough. What I want to show you is I have battery operated eraser. Now I'm going to clean it. Yep, you can just use your finger, run the eraser, and it'll take all the extras off. $1.50 Daiso, D-A-I-S-O. It's like a Japanese $1.50 tree, and you'll have to look to see if you actually have any in your area. What I want to do is come back in here and lift what was in there. And I can even put a point on this. Not great for my fingernails, but I'm going to put a tip on this eraser. If I don't run the battery totally down. Do you see how easy that is? And it didn't hurt my nail. I think it's because I've been taking vitamin D so much. Yeah, the biotin didn't do anything, but the vitamin D has been. So now I've got a little more of a point on there. So I'm going to clean up my bow. Now, also, all of these, the other thing I can do is pull this out, flip it over. See, I've got that real straight edge. This candy, I'm going to take and put a shine mark on them. All right, so I'm going to touch and lift. Now I'm trying to do them in approximately the same area, top to top right. But now look at the ones on the right hand side. Look at the ones on the left hand side. And again, sometimes it's just those little things that will add to a page. And I would ideally like just a dot, not a dash that I'm getting. But it's because I'm hurrying through this. But you get the idea. Okay, so hopefully now that looks kind of like glass. And again, I think the big deal is putting those lines in there. Now that you look at it, when that part's all done, I think those lines look more natural. Okay, so how to do this down here. Again, come out. Now this, to me, is shaped like this. So on the top here, the light's hitting. On the bottom down here, it's not. So I'm just going to do this bottom area. All right? Because it's going in like this, there may not be a whole lot of light up underneath. That's why I went ahead and did this some. Okay, not a lot of light there. There would be some here, maybe not as much right here, so I can come in some. Again, not as much here. And I'm wanting to go ahead and come around to give it shape. And see, I should color these candies back here before I do all this, so I'm just not going to do all that. But I'm going down the shape of my container, your vase, whatever it is you're doing. Gladys, I know you're working on a vase with flowers in it. Do the flowers and that stem going through first, okay? That way anything you add over the top, it's going to be fine. Now when I get to this, the darker color or the darkness is going to be inside here. It's not going to be on the back of that. Okay, we're looking through this. So there's that. Then I'm going to come back through with my medium shade, and I'm going to get going on all this again. Don't come out as far this time. And I won't even go over this area right here. I'll skip right down here to what's not getting the direct light. Okay, I'm not going to mess with the tops. I'm going to come down here. And then on this, what I'm going to do is stick more around the outside edges and not the very center. And what that'll do is give that the illusion that it's humped up just a little. Now with my dark, the only thing I'm going to do is hit a little bit right there, right here, under here, and around the outside. Okay, now I'm going to take my blender and I'm going to go at it again. Hopefully this video will not stop until I tell it to. You know, I haven't done videos in a while. A lot in life has been happening, and I'll share that with you over the next few weeks. Not really at liberty to share all of it right now. But suffice to say that we've been terribly busy and there's lots going on. In fact, we did just have, and this is one reason I left my Patreon open, is because I knew things were going to be happening. We just got a whole new AC unit, all new ducts in the attic, the inside unit, the outside unit, the whole thing. And it wasn't really a choice. We're in Texas, and when we had our maintenance agreement with a guy that I highly trust, we were reminded about how old the unit was before he told us that our first 85-degree weather day was going to blow the unit. It was terribly old, and in fact the Freon for it they don't even carry on the trucks. And it was actually just a little bit more to get a whole new unit than to try to put a band-aid on the old one. So that was one big thing that was not a good thing that happened. But anyway, back to coloring. There we go. So now I have the outside of this darker, and I'll just drag it through to some of that inside. Okay, now when my glass is finished, and I'm going to call that finished. Okay. Now, those lines, don't get carried away and go this way. all your lines need to come the same direction. And see how they're kind of parallel to each other, but they're not solid, like there was two parts there. I wouldn't put a line here because that's the underside, and all of this is being shadowed somewhat by that. But this is big, and I know they've got a shine there, but I want my shine here. So I'm just kind of ignoring what they have and doing my own. Nothing here. I can do some here. Don't get carried away with it. And then here. And now, why did I go over the bottom? Because that's the front of the vase. You're just looking through it to the bottom. Okay? Does that help you? All right, so hopefully that helped you. I ignored these strokes here because that may or may not be on what you're doing. Okay? All right, so that's it. Gladys, thanks for asking for the video. I hope it helped, and y'all have a good day. I'm going to write these colors down on this page so that when I come back to it, I remember what they were. So 1008, these are Prismas. And then I have 932. And then I have 996. Okay, y'all enjoy. Bye.